And I had the mic muted. Figures I would start off this episode of the podcast in that way. So let's restart. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to I Shot Him Six Times YouTube horror movie channel. But more importantly, welcome to the Raw Footage Podcast, episode 2 of the Raw Footage Podcast. In this episode, I am going to be revisiting Scream 5 and taking a look back at that film 4 years after its release. So this is definitely going to be a fun time, a fun conversation. If you have not done so already, please shoot this episode and please shoot this stream a like. It definitely helps out with the YouTube algorithm, as well as hype this stream. There is a hype feature now that YouTube allows us content creators to have so that we can get more notoriety on the videos / streams. So if you guys don't mind, please definitely shoot the hype button as well as the like button. And if you are new here to the channel, shoot that subscribe button, shoot that notification icon so you get all the latest content updates, whether it's a video, whether it's a stream, so on and so forth. You guys know the drill. So again, guys, this is going to be a revisiting of Scream 5's film. I will point out the fact I just dropped a video about an hour ago, basically going back through Scream 5 and 6's films, giving my reasoning and deep dive into why I believe the killer in Scream 7 is an unrevealed killer from 5 and 6's films. And how I'm going to structure this is basically what I want to do is I want to hear from you guys first in the comment section about how you feel about Scream 5 4 years later. And then I'm going to transition later on in the episode to giving my thoughts and perspective on Scream 5's film 4 years later, because I will say this, I now have a completely different outlook on this movie than I did before. So it's going to be really interesting to see what you guys have to say once I give you guys my perspective on Scream 5. But again, this is going to be about you guys for about the first half hour of the episode or whatnot, because I do want to point this out. Sunday, when I did the first episode, there was a lot of volume and a lot of traffic coming through the chats. That was probably the most people I had in my chat ever here on the channel. So it was really difficult for me to keep up with regular comments because there were so many super chats coming in. We were having a great conversation. You guys know how difficult it can be to keep up on the comment section. So that's why what I want to do with this episode and in future episodes going forward, for like the first 30 minutes of the episode, I'm going to tailor everything around you guys' comments and you guys' thoughts about whatever topics that we are talking about for that particular stream, then transition into my perspective or the guest perspectives, so on and so forth. So let's get into the comment section. Let's see who is all here. I see we have 12 people here right now. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out, especially in the middle of the day. This is the first time that I've done a stream in the daytime in a long time. A long time. You guys know I'm a night owl for the most part. So I'm actually glad that I can get a day stream in because I know there's some audience members who might live overseas that might not be able to catch the night streams that I put out unless they watch it on replay and stuff. So for those who are overseas who might be able to catch it now, I'm glad that I can be able to stream right now for them, because usually they wouldn't be able to catch these episodes of the podcast or these streams live. What's up, Paula? Paula Fitzhenry in the house. What's going on? Nice to see you as always, Paula. I hope you're having a great day. DJ Plays Favorites. What's up, DJ? Saying hello, one and all. What's going on? I don't know if I was a typo, DJ, or what. Let me know. Just want to make sure I'm reading it correctly. King Matthew III. What's up, Matt? Saying, what's up? How are you doing today, Marcus? I'm doing all right. Not too bad. Glad I can get a stream in before I head into work later on. So I'm happy to be here with you guys. I'm really excited to revisit Scream 5 and get into this conversation because I have a whole different perspective on how I view this movie. And I'm excited to share my perspective about it. Thank you for asking, though, Matthew. I hope you're having a great day. Matthew saying Scream 5, in my opinion, is watchable up until the point Dewey dies. After that, it belongs in the trash. LOL. Because even Sydney didn't act like herself in 5. It felt like she was forced into the movie to me. I will say I agree with that. I didn't like how a lot of the characters in Scream 5 were portrayed at all. Like, I feel like the character development and the overall character work was definitely something that was lacking in Scream 5. And I feel like that's something when you rewatch the movie today, you still see that as a main issue with that movie for sure. And of course, Dewey Riley getting killed off, like, I really wish they would have kept Dewey. And I know you had to take a risk and you had to do something shocking. But the reason why I have an issue with his death is because it wasn't shocking. We all predicted it. Well, this was even before I started doing content creating. But when I would see the Scream 5 trailers and stuff like that, and then start following content creators like Craven Something Scary and the others that we watch here in the community and stuff, it was very clear in the trailers that they were going to kill Dewey off. So the element of surprise was taken away instantly, and it was basically just sorrow. We knew what we were walking into, So I really wish they would have kept him. I also heard that basically they didn't treat David too well, during the time he was on set for Scream 5, which is really a bummer because, much like Nev and Courtney, he gave so much to this franchise and he's such an iconic, actor and character within this franchise. Like, why would you not treat the legacy characters with the utmost respect and gratitude, for the path that they paved for you to be able to make a new movie to where you're not centering it around them, but they're passing the torch, so to speak. So, yeah, I agree with you, Matthew. Definitely sucks. And I can see where some people say it's only watchable up until the point where Dewey dies. I have a difference of opinion in that, especially now, but I can see why yourself and others may feel that way. Paula saying, nice seeing everyone. Thank you for greeting everyone, Paula. Yo, what's up, Patrol? Saying Ghosty with a fist pump. Yo, what's going on, man? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing support as always, man. It's been a little bit. I'm glad that I'm finally been able to have some time to start ramping up the content. I missed you guys. King Matthew saying epic fail. Yep, you know how it goes, man. It wasn't the first time, and it's most likely not going to be the last. It happens. That's the good thing about mulligans. You get do-overs with this shit. Yo, what's up, Gory Tiger? Gory Tiger 8808 saying, what's up? What's going on? I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for being here. We have 17 people here in the chat. Guys, if you haven't done so already, please shoot the stream a like. We are about to get into the conversation here soon. I just wanted to say what's up to everybody and see what you guys are all saying. But again, I want you guys, the viewers, to let me know what you guys think about Scream 5 4 years later first before I give you guys my perspective on Scream 5. Because again, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, with Sunday's stream, I kind of felt like I was leaving some of you guys out in the chat, in the conversation, because there were so many super chats coming in, I should say. So I want to, give you guys your shine and hear you guys' perspectives before I give my perspective. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. DJ saying, what up, everyone in the mod squad? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on, mod squad? Yo, thank you for reminding me, DJ. I'm still kind of working my way back and setting everything up for live streams and stuff. So I got to get Val back as a mod. I hope she comments so I can take care of that. I keep forgetting to do that because I've just been so busy with everything else. What's up, Russ? Russell Dorsey 5803 saying, what's up, everyone? Let's smash that like button. If you haven't already, hi, Marcus, and everyone in the chat. Yes, absolutely. Smash the like button as well as the hype button, guys. That's a new feature here on YouTube that us content creators have. They are giving us a hype button to hype the video so that we can get the video or the stream more notoriety and stuff. And I think how it works is people get like leaderboard points, something like that. So if you want to be a part of the leaderboard, or help me get up the leaderboard in regards to recommended videos and streams, definitely shoot that hype button as well. Thank you for that, Russell. I'll be right back. Oh, what's going on? Saying hi, Marcus, and everyone. What's going on? I hope you're having a great day. I love that. I love the name. every time you come in this chat or anytime you come on one of my videos or, hang out for a stream or whatever, I'm going to announce your name just like that. It has to be done. Yo, what's going on? What's going on at Brisk with the Bars? Saying people ask why Stu would wait 30 years just to come back and kill Sydney. And I'm like, why the fuck would Leslie wait 30 years just to get revenge for her brother? It makes no sense. Yeah, I talked about that, Brisk, on Sunday's episode of the podcast, that I feel like unless Leslie is coming back with Stu or being introduced physically in real form with Stu, it doesn't really make much sense for her to be the killer, because if she was going to be the killer, it would have made more sense for her to be the killer with Mrs. Loomis in Scream 2. And her deciding to come after Sydney 30 years later, especially when you consider that if Vince Snyder is her son, like they want us to believe in Scream 5, you would think it would make more sense for her to go after Samantha and Tara because her son was killed during their storyline. I get it, Stu, her brother was killed during Sydney's storyline, but that 30 years is just, it's a little much. And I agree with you on that. And I will say this in regards to Stu Macher, being away for 30 years and then coming back. Some people don't think that's believable. What I will say is this. It's a known fact that in real life, with real life serial killers, that they have been known to go dormant for an extended amount of time before they either kill again or DNA forensics, because it's so advanced now, links them to whatever murders that they were before, that they took part of before, and then they get caught. Prime example is the Green River Killer. I think they said something like after his second wife, he killed a few more people or whatnot, but then he married a third woman, and then after marrying his third wife, he was like dormant from killing for like 20-something years, had a job, had kids with her, like started a whole family, like as if he wasn't a serial killer at all, up until they basically DNA got better and more advanced, and they were able to link him to his DNA to his previous crimes and stuff like that. So my point is that Stu Macher being a serial killer, going dormant just to show up to kill Sydney or come after Sydney one last time, isn't as far-fetched as many would think, because real-life serial killers actually take this direction in some cases in regards to going dormant and not killing for a while. Glad to see you. Glad to see you, though, Brisk. Thank you for being here. DJ saying, I didn't like it at first, but if I had to put a grade on it, I would give it a C. Okay, awesome. I'll give my grade a little bit later when I give my newfound perspective on how I look at Scream 5. King Matthew III saying, oh, we got John Boy interfering with the conversation. You guys know, don't mind it. I have dogs. They are going to bark every once in a while. You guys know they're not new here to these streams. They're not new here to the channel. They are regulars. If it gets too much, I will end up muting the mic for a few seconds so that they can do what they do as dogs. But King Matthew III saying the one thing I liked about Scream 5, though, is how brutal the Ghostface was. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Scream 6, they were a little bit more brutal, but I definitely get what you were saying in regards to setting the tone for Ghostface being more darker and more vicious from a violent standpoint. There was a little bit more brutality and stuff, even though I feel like Samantha, she had the more brutal kills out of either of the Ghostface killers in either of those two films. But Ghostface, they definitely were brutal in their moments. Like in particular, Judy Hicks' death scene. When I go back and rewatch that, I'm like, damn, like they did a number on her. Like they cut her the fuck up. Dewey, that was the most brutal kill, in my opinion, out of either Scream 5 or 6 in regards to Ghostface. So yeah, they definitely did ramp up the violence and intensity in regards to making Ghostface more brutal in those last two films. Yo, what's up, Dom? Dominic St. Clair Studio 6324. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Dom, definitely go over to his channel and subscribe. Dom is a good friend of mine. We have done content numerous times together. He does content on his channel, even though his content is a little bit more different. His is more geared towards like creature features as well as gaming. But if you like that type of content, definitely go give Dom a subscribe. It's a good dude. You guys, will like Dom if you're not subscribed to him yet. But Dom's saying, hey, bro, sorry about the other night. My phone died and I was tired, so I just went to sleep and charged my phone. Bro, you're good. Shit happens, man. That's life. You're good, Dom. No need to apologize, brother. DJ saying, plus, it wasn't a Wes Craven movie. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I definitely do get that. It sucks, like I miss Wes Craven's directing in his movies so much. It's just like he was what they said he was. He was the master of suspense. And I think whenever a legendary creator like that isn't a part of a project that they basically helped build or created themselves, it's very difficult to want to accept anyone else touching that intellectual property, so yeah, it does suck. But we do have a couple super chats in the house, and as you guys know, super chats do go to the front of the line. But first, we have a membership chat from My Chunky Jordy. Gina, thank you so much. Being a member for 31 months. Thank you so much, Gina. Holy shit. Girl, you're going on, it's about 2.5. You're going on 3 years, Gina. That's nuts. Thank you for your continued support. I greatly appreciate you. And I'm glad you're able to watch this stream because I know that you're on the other side of the pond. So being able to watch the night streams is difficult for you. So I'm glad I'm able to stream during the day right now so that you can be in the live chat and hang out. It's good to see you. And Gina saying, I didn't realize it'd be this long. Yeah, right. I didn't either. It's crazy. It's amazing. Like, it really is. Like, all of you guys who have stuck it out with me through the dark days of this channel, I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys know that sometimes it can be up and down, especially with my work schedule and stuff like that. But at some point, you guys know I'm going to make it back to you guys. And you guys sticking around and being here for me is always greatly appreciated. So love you guys. Thank you. And Talk Scream with I want to say this is a $45 super chat, but I could be wrong because it says DKK. I don't know if that's like a different currency, but whatever it is, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Saying, part 1, do you think that Sam may have voluntarily put herself in Fallbrook Psychiatric Hospital to not hurt her friends? Yeah. I have battled with this idea myself. What if Samantha Carpenter is in Fallbrook Psychiatric Hospital in Scream 7 to the point where I have tried to go look at her pill bottle in Scream 5 to see where, the prescription came from, and stuff like that. That would be fucking nuts. I think it's possible, but unless they are going to really shock us and it is going to be Melissa, if it is going to be Samantha Carpenter, it's going to be it's going to be somebody new, like a new actress. So I love the idea, I really do. I think it makes a lot of sense. To a degree, I do have a thought that I'm actually going to put into a video in regards to what they're going to do with the Carpenter sisters based on a certain character that we've seen in Scream 3. And I know some might already have a hint and may not like where I'm going with that, but I am going to talk about that because I do think it's relevant to talk about that. So again, that video will be out soon, but I definitely like this idea and can see this. If they are going to give us a shock cameo that nobody would see coming, I can see this working, with Samantha putting herself in the loony bin to protect everybody. That would be crazy. That would be nuts. Because it does make you wonder, in those 5 years that she was absent from Woodsboro in Scream 5 that they mentioned, where was she? Before we see her Modesto in the movie, right? What happened in between those 5 years? Did she get locked up? Did she go to a psych ward? I mean, she had antipsychotic depressants, so it's very possible she could have been in a fucking mental institution. It's very, very possible. Thank you for bringing that up, That's great. And coming in with another super chat. Thank you so much again. Saying part 2, her psychological state and internal struggle has been a central part of her character arc, and maybe it got too much after Scream 6. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. I just, again, unless you're going to mention her as a character who is at Fallbrook, like you're not going to let us see her, I just feel like if they're going to reveal that and they're going to reveal her in physical form, unless we get the shock of the century and it is Melissa as Samantha, it's going to be a new actress playing the character. And I personally don't want that. And I don't think a lot of fans want that, but that's very possible. So anything's on the table. But great questions, great questions. And I think Samantha being locked up in good old Fallbrook, I like the idea. I like the possibility. I do. That's something I can sink my teeth into. King Matthew saying, I still prefer 1 through 3 over 5 and 6, though. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people even prefer 1 through 4. I know some people have their reservations about 4, especially in regards to Jill being the killer. Some people don't like Jill as a killer, or even Charlie, but I personally think that films 1 through 4 are really good Scream movies, especially, of course, the original is a classic. But the sequels to follow afterwards, in my opinion, were some of the most consistently well-made sequels that we have seen out of a horror franchise, out of a horror franchise name such as Scream. Free Spirit 93. What's going on? Thank you for being here. Saying Stu believes. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. I just dropped my video in regards to basically giving a deep dive and breaking down into who the unrevealed killer in Scream 5 and 6's film could be. I believe it could be Stu Macher. If you haven't seen that video already, definitely go check it out. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. I think Stu has been involved since Scream 5. I do. That's just what I believe. I think the evidence is overwhelming at this point, especially with what I mentioned in that most recent video, because I did mention things that really weren't mentioned before in regards to some of the things that were mentioned. Like basically what I did was I took the things that were mentioned in regards to the Stu Macher Easter eggs and I heightened them based on certain other things that a lot of us, I think, missed, when discussing it back then. So, yes, Stu believes, and I believe. I'll even go as far as doing this for you guys. Say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Stu Macher. Let's go. If you're a wrestling fan and you like Joe Hendry, you understand what I just did there. Horror Paradise, what's going on? Glad to see you here. Saying, I have loved 5 and 6 more. I have a lot to say about it that clearly others wouldn't even fathom thinking about, especially with Twitter in their ear. It'll be like I'm on a different wavelength, oddly. Well, Horror Paradise, I will say this to you. I think I might be on the same wavelength as you are in regards to Scream 5. Scream 6 kind of still feels like Scream 6 to me, like how I've always felt about Scream 6. There's a little bit of elevation there, but I feel like the elevation in regards to those two films, 5 and 6, for me, comes more with Scream 5. And I'm going to explain it here in a second here shortly, why I have a different perspective and why I actually like Scream 5 a lot more now than I did in the aftermath of its release, of its initial release, I should say. Russell saying, I enjoyed Scream 5 better than 6. Yeah, man, you guys are forcing my hand. But again, I'm going to get to you guys' comments first. I want to know what you guys are feeling about Scream 5 4 years later before I get into my spew about why I like this movie a lot more now than I did before. So we're going to keep moving this bad boy along here. And I will note that we have 23. We were just up to 28 or whatnot, but we still have 23 people here watching this episode of the podcast. If you haven't done so already, please shoot this episode of the podcast a like. It definitely helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Shoot that hype button that is also featured on the stream and the videos that I post here on this channel, because it helps out tremendously. It helps me get my videos more recommended so that we can keep an even greater audience flowing in here, so that we can keep getting new people to join this community and to join these conversations that we love to have. But Chess, I agree, Russell. I enjoy Scream 5 more than Scream 6. For sure. DJ saying Dom 154 to the Dom Fund. That's funny. And we have another super chat in the house. Once again, coming through. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Saying, what if Jill is the one in Fallbrook? That's another one. You're on fire right now. You're on fire. Saying, what if Jill is the one in Fallbrook? She did get electroshocked in the head. Possible brain damage from that. Also, 45 DKK is about $7 or $8. Thank you for that clarification. I greatly appreciate that, because I don't know some of these currencies. I only know, obviously the U.S. currency and stuff like that. So thank you for clarifying that for me. And just thank you for your super chats and just for being here. I greatly appreciate it. The support is what's really important here, and just the conversation. But saying, what if Jill's the one in Fallbrook? She did get electroshock to the head, possible brain damage from that. And then obviously the last part. Yeah, I mean, again, I think definitely that Jill could be the one in Fallbrook. This is a theory that a lot of people have had, a lot of fans have had in the aftermath of, just basically Scream 4, and basically in the aftermath of Scream 5, even like with these newer films coming out. Could Jill Roberts return? Could she be in a psych ward somewhere? So on and so forth, because Kevin Williamson did want to bring her character back and do more with her character. And Emma Roberts herself has said she feels she isn't done with Scream. So I can definitely see something like this playing out. I can see Jill being in a loony bin. Again, Jill is another killer who did not get the love tap in the middle of the head. She didn't get shot in the head, right? So even though she did take a defibrillator and get shocked in the brain, she still got up from that and was trying to kill motherfuckers. And though she did get shot in the heart or whatnot with a gun, it's not impossible to think that she still could have been revived from that. I know it seems very unlikely, especially when you take into account the amount of punishment that woman put herself through in that final act when trying to make herself look like the victim. She probably has so much internal injuries and so much internal bleeding that taking that gunshot to the heart would probably put the nail in the coffin. But this is movies. And in Scream movies, for the most part, if you do not get shot in the head or definitively throat slashed, knife through the mouth, knife through the eyes, like the Bailey family and Richie got from Samantha in Scream 5 and 6, if they don't get shot in the head, there is a possibility they could return. That's why I always made my case for Charlie Walker, because I don't care what anybody says. From the camera angle that we see in Scream 4, he gets stabbed in the shoulder. He does not get stabbed in the fucking heart. So, again, it's definitely possible that Jill could be in Fallbrook. And hey, listen, I love Stu Macher, and I want Stu Macher to be the one to come back. But if they kind of swerve us and make it make sense and reveal that it's actually Jill, I would not be mad at that either, because I liked Jill. Even though I like Charlie more than Jill, I still like Jill because her motive was pretty fucking cool. Like, I want to become Sidney Prescott, but I'm the Ghostface killer. But I'm a Ghostface killer who wants to portray myself as the victim for fame and notoriety. I did not mind that motive at all. So, yeah, definitely could be Jill. Great question. Again, Scroll back up here in the chat. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, see, I'm glad I basically saved where I was at. That's awesome. So I'm not missing anything. At Joshua Brooks. Oh, sorry for that high pitch, guys. Sometimes my voice can carry. I'm sure you guys realize that by now. At Joshua Brooks 16411. What's going on? Glad to see you here, buddy. Saying I'm starting to think Stu won't be alive, and that will be a real bad decision on Kevin Williams' part. I agree. And I can see why some people are feeling that Stu might not be alive because of all the Easter eggs and all the promotions surrounding it and hearing his voice in the trailer. So some people might see that as misdirection. And I can understand why you would feel that way. And I am going to agree with you that if they don't reveal that Stu is alive, it will be a real bad decision on Kevin Williamson's part. It will be a real bad decision on Guy Busick's part because, like I just mentioned in my last video that I just posted before doing this episode of the podcast, guys, I implore you to go watch that video. I really do. I put a lot of hard work and effort into that video, and I tie everything in my opinion, quite perfectly and elegantly and stuff. But given the Easter eggs and the breadcrumbs that we see laid out in Scream 5 and 6, in my opinion, if you do not bring Stu Macher back alive, it's a terrible missed opportunity. And everything you did, like I said Sunday, everything you did in regards to laying the breadcrumbs for his return in 5 and 6 is a fart in the wind. It means nothing. And something that I want to see Scream get back to that we had in the first 3 movies specifically is long-term story motherfucking telling. Long-term storytelling that makes sense, that ties everything together. And I think if you go in this direction by not only revealing that Stu Macher was alive, or is alive, I should say, but that he was also in his own way a part of 5 and 6's events as an active killer who is behind the scenes, but behind the scenes actively present in our faces without being revealed. I think that should be the avenue that you take because that's long-term storytelling. And with Scream 7, we expected to mirror Scream 3. What did we find out in Scream 3? There was a mastermind that basically went back to the beginning. So I said it in that video. I'm not going to exactly give my reasoning as to why I believe that now. Go watch that video, but I definitely do think it will be a bad decision, especially in regards to long-term storytelling and how this has been layered out over the course of 2 films going into this film. It would definitely be a bad decision on Kevin Williamson's part to not reveal that Stu Macher is alive and take this chance because everything, just like the TV spot said, every phone call, every killer has all led to this. Follow that. And how do you follow that? You tie everything together that I mentioned in that last video that I just did. You tie everything together from 5 and 6, and then in 7, wrap everything up in a perfect bow and make it make sense. Guys, go watch that video. I put a lot of hard work and effort into that video, and I think you guys will be able to notice that. And I think you guys, even if you're not a Stu truther, I think at the end of that video, you will come out being like, you know what? I still don't believe Stu Macher is alive. But this man did properly curate this to a degree, to a way that I could at least think the possibility could be possible if I didn't think it was possible before. So I'm going to say. But yeah, I'm hoping they don't mess that up. Joshua. They need to capitalize. I'll be right back. Oh, saying 5 and 6 are my least favorites. I understand. I watched 5 yesterday to prepare for your stream. I like it more than 6, but there's still a lot of hate. There's still a lot of hate about it. Oh, I greatly appreciate that, though. You going to refresh yourself to prepare for the stream. I greatly appreciate that. That's awesome and stuff. I can understand why people say those are their least 2 favorite films. If I had to say so right now, they still are my least favorite films as well, but I like Scream 5 a lot better. And I'm soon here going to get into my reasonings as to why I like Scream 5 a lot better now that I have a newfound perspective on how I look at it. So, yeah. Yeah, I get it. You know, those two are the least, like, best Scream movies in the franchise, but I still find them entertaining in their own rights. But they still are not better than films 1 through 4. They're not. And we have some more super chats in the house. Another super chat from Yuno. Thank you again. I greatly appreciate you, Yuno. Saying, fun fact, Emma Roberts, Jill, was following Spyglass when the cast was starting to get announced. Ooh, see, I heard something about that, but I didn't know if that was, like, legit. Because, you know, there's been a lot of misinformation going out there in the fucking ether. You know, people saying one thing, people saying another in regards to this movie and stuff. So, yeah, I seen something like that, but I didn't know if it was legit. I mean, hey. What happened when, what was his name? Jack Champion, when he got cast as Ethan Landry, he started following Matthew Lillard on, what was it, Twitter or Instagram. And what do we see in Scream 6? They used a Stu Macher spot to basically kill his character off by having Kirby throw the TV on his head. So if Emma did follow Spyglass when the cast was starting to get announced, I mean, it's very possible that could be a sign. I mean, hey man, listen, I'm all here for, I've said it before. Fuck it, double down. Give us 2 Ghostface reveals of killers that we thought were dead that aren't dead. One time, just one time only. I'll be okay with that. I want one in Stu Macher. But if you give us 2 and you give us Stu and Jill, and they would be working together, even though I would have preferred Charles Walker more, if you give us Stu and Jill together, I can accept it. I can take it in stride. I will be okay with that if it's properly done. So, hey, it's fun. That's a fun fact for sure. I mean, that's interesting. Gina saying, read my message to you, please. Is it in the chat, Gina, or is it on Instagram? Let me know. If it's in the chat, I will get to it here in a second. Don't worry. And thank you for the super chat, Gina. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Now you got me interested in what this message is, Gina. At Jordan Talks Films 4038. Yo, what's going on, bro? Coming through with a $5 super chat, bro. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much, man. And we had such a great time on Sunday with Pam. If you guys haven't watched the first episode of the podcast already, definitely go check it out. Jordan and Sister Pam were on the panel. We had a great time. We had a great discussion. There were moments where, you know, I feel like I went back and watched that stream and I'm like, damn, man, I got to take it a little bit more easier, my boy Jordan, man. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we always have a great time when we're talking. Jordan says, I feel like all the Stu clues, quotation marks, are just coincidences. Fucking fancy pants. It's like, no, let me stop. Or the creators are just trolling the fans who want Stu back. I hope it's not Stu or Leslie. No, I can see, again, misdirection. I can see them trying to do that. You know what I mean? And stuff. I don't personally think the Stu clues are coincidences. Like, for example, how I mentioned in the opening scene of Scream 5, where we hear Ghostface basically question Tara about the killers in Stab, the original Stab movie, and she only answers Billy and forgets Stu. It's very reminiscent to the trick question that was used on Casey in Scream 1996 with the whole Friday the 13th bit and the whole point of Jason basically overshadowing the fact that Pamela was the original killer. That structuring and that question and the way it was laid out to me would be asked by somebody who was a part of the original film. So I don't think that's just a coincidence. To me, Amber and Richie wouldn't know to ask that question, in my opinion, in the way that it was structured. So you know me, Jordan, I don't think the Stu clues are just coincidences, but I can see your point of creators just trolling fans who want Stu back. I can see them doing that. I can. I mean, because if you really think about it, let's really be honest here. In Scream 5 and 6, they basically did that. There was a lot of Stu Macher Easter eggs in both of those films. And did we get Stu Macher revealed at the end? No. But what we did get, in my opinion, was an unrevealed killer in those films who was doing certain scenes and certain attacks. But the point is they had a lot of Stu Macher Easter eggs in those films, and we didn't get him revealed. So you can make the argument that they are just trolling us. And hey, if they're doing that, good for them. Good way to fuck up, in my opinion, what could be a great 3-part story arc and could elevate Scream 5 and Scream 6 if you were to reveal that he is alive and go in this avenue of putting a story together that he was an unrevealed killer actively committing attacks and committing murders in those 2 films. You have the perfect opportunity to tie these 3 films together. And if you're not willing to do that because you want to troll the fans and go in a different direction, cool. But then what you set yourself up for is those 2 films that everybody already says are their least favorite, they're going to even get more devalued, in my opinion. So, but you could be right. Jordan saying, I hope it's not Stu or Leslie. I know you want somebody different, bro. I will say, you know how I feel about Stu, so I'm not even going to get into that. Leslie, unless it's with Stu, she's a no-go for me as well. I can't get behind it if she's the one pulling the strings as the mastermind, and she has her son, Asa Germain, who's playing Lucas, and whoever else with her. It's just no. For me, that wouldn't sit well, wouldn't make too much sense. So I agree with you in regards to the Leslie bit, as well as the creators just trolling the fans who want Stu back, because I can see them doing that. And we have another super chat in the house. Real quick, I do want to get to this. Again, coming through in the clutch. Man, you on fire today, man. Saying if you look at all the drawings, the bottom middle left drawing looks like Jill getting poked in the eye by Sydney. Ooh, I'm going to have to go back and relook at that. I will say this, and I want to give a shout out to Nerdbox, and I'm most likely going to reach out to them and let them know that I gave them a shout out in the stream. But I was watching parts of their stream the other night, and I think his name is Dave. They pointed out some things in those drawings, and the drawing that I thought looked like Jill Roberts, now I think they're right. It kind of looks like Angelina. And I am going to do a video breaking that down myself as well here in the coming days. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I'm going to have to go back and look at that entire board of drawings to see what you're saying here, because I didn't catch that. That's interesting. Okay, so now we are back in the regular chat. Caught up with super chats. Yo, what's up, Josh? Josh Rain 2983 saying, yo, bro, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you here. I am going to be a little bit behind. I'm catching up with everybody right now. Don't worry, I will get to your comments. And Gina, if you did leave a message or a comment here, don't worry, I will get to it as soon as I can. But if it's not here, I will assume it's on Instagram. Jordan saying, yo, what's up, buddy? Saw you super chat. Greatly appreciate you again, my friend. We will be speaking soon, buddy. You already know. King Matthew III saying, I feel like if they really wanted to kill Dewey off, they should have had Kevin Williamson write that scene out. Since he created those characters, he would have sent them out with respect. I agree with that. I just wish they wouldn't have killed Dewey at all. There was, to me, no point in it. If anybody should have died, it should have been Gale. But we're here now. So, yeah, but I agree that maybe they should have had Kevin write how that scene played out. Because, one, it wouldn't have been so obvious, in my opinion. I think he would have made it really shocking. And also because, again, like you said, he would have handled that with respect and care. And again, I heard they didn't really treat David too well on the set of Scream 5 and didn't have too much respect for the Dewey Riley character. So that's why we got the fucking kill that we got. And that's why that scene is in the shit shape that it's in and why people fucking hate it. Jordan saying, I just left work early on my lunch break for a doctor's appointment. I guess perfect timing. I guess so, man. I guess so. I hope you're doing good, though, man. Going to take a visit to the doc. I hope it ain't nothing serious. I hope it's just like a routine checkup, just, making sure shit's straight. Josh Frayne saying, have you seen that James Wan is directing a reboot of the Saw series? Now, I know that Blumhouse and Atomic Monster, his production company, bought the rights to Saw. They own the rights to Saw now. I did not see that he was going to be directing a new series of Saw films. I've heard speculation about it, but I didn't know if we had anything confirmed. And if that's true, I love that, obviously. But I will say, I really wish they would let Kevin Grudert finish his story from Saw X. So, I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword for me. Excuse me, because I love James Wan. He's the creator of the Saw franchise. But I think Kevin Grudert, outside of James, is the best director for the Saw franchise. It's those two for me. And I feel like what Kevin did with Saw X, he should be allowed to finish what he started in Saw X in Saw 11. But that's just my take. But thank you for that, Josh, because I'm going to look more into that. That's something I definitely do want to start getting back on track with as well, is some more Saw content, because that's my jam. You guys know that. I love me some Saw movies. Dom saying Scream 5 and 6 were all right. Scream 5 felt like an afterthought, and Scream 6 felt like a spinoff. Yeah, I can see where you can make that assumption of Scream 5 feeling like an afterthought, because they did mirror the original so much in such a lesser way, if that makes sense, that it did kind of tamper down the value of Scream 5 and kind of does make it look like it is an afterthought to an extent. I now think differently, and I will think even more differently if Scream 7 does the right thing. But I can see why you say that about Scream 5. And Scream 6, yeah, like a spinoff basically to Scream 2, or yeah, like a spinoff to Scream 5, because, I mean, to a degree, like, because you had Kirby come in, and I get it, she was a legacy character, but it's just there was no real structure, and you did the same thing that you did in Scream 2 in regards to revealing it's the parent. Just the only difference is that he had siblings with him, and yeah, it does feel like a spinoff for sure. I can see why you would say that. Brisk with the bar saying, anyone asking why would Sid wait 30 years? Why would Leslie? I don't see why would Leslie by herself wait 30 years either. You know what I mean? I don't see why she would wait 30 years either. I think, like, again, the only way it would work with her being the killer is if she is with Stu and Stu is alive and she's helping him. And the reason why I say that is because if it were to be revealed that Stu was a part of Scream 5 and 6, like I mentioned in the video I just posted, I think Vince, Stu's nephew, Leslie's son, was actually his accomplice in that opening scene. And I think that Richie and Amber killed Vince as the first kill of Scream 5's movie, as a statement and warning shot to Stu that they're going in their own direction. So obviously, if Leslie were to be a killer revealed with Stu with her brother, that would make sense, especially because then you already set the family elements in Scream 5 if you reveal what should be revealed about Stu in regards to him being the killer in that opening scene, Attack of Tara Carpenter, and stuff like that. So, because then you can make the assumption that if Vince was Stu's accomplice, if there was any more accomplices in Stu's cult, Vince's mother, Stu's sister, would most likely be a part of it then as well. So, and then take into account that TCM poster, that TCM style poster for Scream 7, that hints at a family of killers. I'm going to do a more extensive breakdown video for that too, but I just wanted to point that out there. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, Leslie by herself as the ringleader don't make sense to me at all neither, Brisk. Gory saying what's up to Paula. DJ saying anything past Scream 4 just seems like a parody since it doesn't have Wes Craven as the director, aka feels like a scary movie or a stab movie. I can see where you would say that. And that's interesting that you do say that, DJ, because I have been hearing some things, and granted, they might not even be true. I think a lot of the shit that's going out there in the ether isn't true. We will find out how this movie is going to play out in regards to Scream 7 when we get there, right? Or whatever. But I've heard some people saying that Samantha Carpenter and them are going to be mentioned, and that basically their story was a part of a new Stab movie or the 2 new Stab movies or whatever, which I don't see how that could work with Sydney, with Chad and Mindy being present in Scream 7, unless you're just going to say that they were celebrity actresses playing themselves in a new Stab movie alongside, Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. If you're going to say that, then I guess okay, but that wouldn't feel right to me. I think if you're going to, I think you're going to have to do this right. Like, figure out a way to explain Samantha and Tara's absence a lot better than saying, oh, their story was actually a new Stab movie. That wouldn't work for me. But I can understand why you would say Scream 5 and 6 kind of feel like Stab movies, because especially in regards to the score and just the overall tone, without Wes Craven and Marcos Beltrami present, it did kind of feel like it was not a Scream movie. It did kind of feel like it was like a lower budget Scream movie, so to speak, or a Stab movie, as you put it. So I can understand that. And we do have another super chat in the house. Scroll down here. Oh, what's going on from one of my modulators and one of my continued loyal supporters since day one here, ever since the inception of this channel. Denisha Lane, 1142. What's up, Denisha? Glad to see you here. Coming through with a $5 super chat saying, hey, Marcus, if it is Jill and Charlie and Stu in Scream 7, or Jill and Charlie if Stu is not there, did like your video about Gale being Ghostface. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Like, so basically what a Scream 7 reveals that Stu, Jill, and Charlie are alive, and they're basically the cult of Ghostface's killing in Scream 7. Of course, I wouldn't mind Charlie being with Stu. I wouldn't mind Jill being with Stu neither. I do think a lot of fans think it would be too convoluted, revealing 3 Ghostface killers that were thought to be dead as alive. I do believe they would have to do they would have to pull some MacGyver shit to make this make sense and to make it work. I'm not opposed to it, but they would have to really use some pen magic to make that make sense. And in regards to Jill and Charlie still being alive in the Killers in Scream 7 and Stu's not there, yeah, I doubt it, especially because I highly doubt Charlie unless Jill just really just put it on my boy, unless she, put that spell underneath him. I can't see Charlie after what Jill did to him forgiving her for that. If he were to be alive, if them two were to be alive, I couldn't see Charlie wanting to be her partner again. I could see Charlie trying to fucking kill her, rightfully so. I can't see them partnering up again. But Charlie and Stu, or Jill and Stu, as a 2-person unit, as 2 killers who were thought to be dead that are going to return and be revealed as alive, I'm okay with that because I've said, actually here a little bit earlier, we all want one, and that's Stu Macher. I personally wouldn't mind two. Double down. One time only, double down. But I would rather it just be Stu or Charlie or Jill or Stu as opposed to Jill, Charlie, and Stu, because I do think it would be a little too convoluted. As much as I would love Charlie to return, I just do think it would be convoluted. And as well, I think if Charlie were to return, I would want Kirby to be present for this. That's why I was excited about Scream 6 and the Easter eggs that I found in Scream 5 in regards to Charlie, because I'm like, yo, if he's alive and Stu's alive and they're working together, Kirby's going to be in this film. Like, that makes sense for Charlie. Like, you guys, like, yeah, I wish. But it ain't going to happen most likely. That ship has sailed, but the Charlie army will march forever. There's a reason God created fan films. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, so this did jump on me real quick, so I do got to catch up. My apologies. Okay, so yeah, this jumped on me, guys. So give me 1 second, please. Man, this really did take me back. Real quick, I do want to say what's up to Jamie Hart if you're still here. I didn't see this. I didn't see you were in the comment section. It must have jumped on me. I didn't catch it. What's up, Jamie? Glad to see you. Got to hang out with Jamie and her husband in Kentucky. That was a great time. It was glad to see them in person. Okay, so wow. Okay, so I'm assuming this is the message from Gina earlier saying, Marcus, I have a Scream 7 teaser on my channel in post of Ghostface released yesterday on Paramount Pictures UK. Please take a look. Okay, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And Gina, if you would like to be a mod, I can give you a wrench. So I got you. I got to add Val back. I got to get everything back in order here. I'm basically just flying on it by the seat of my pants right now. So, okay, so I am going to catch up because I am super behind. It just jumped on me and it keeps jumping on me. So I apologize if I didn't get to your comment. That's just StreamYard. It's just going to keep jumping, and I don't want to keep you guys held up on the conversation. So, okay, so I'll pick up from where Denise's super chat was. So, at Wrestling God, F4V. What's going on, Wrestling God? I'm a wrestling god. Yeah, I know about JBL. Saying, hey, Marcus, if you look at very closely where Tara was at the hospital, you can see Scott Foley playing a character in Dawson's Creek, which was an Easter egg in Scream 5. Yes, I do remember that. Yep, that was a nice Easter egg. Getting to see Scott Foley in fucking Dawson's Creek. And we're going to be seeing Scott Foley in Scream 7. How they're going to do it, most likely AI voice, most likely AI video, or a nightmare sequence. But one way or another, we get some Roman Bridger returning in Scream 7. And I'm excited for that. I'm a fan of Roman. Jamie saying, not yet, Gina, but I will before I close that window. I was kind of waiting to see if Marcus would watch it so I could watch along. I missed something. Let me know what I missed. What are you guys talking about watching? Oh, I'm assuming the teaser. The teaser. Okay. All right, so you guys keep talking about this teaser. I might have to look at it here on stream or maybe get my phone and take a look at it. At Horror Paradise saying that would be effed up if that happened to the Core 4 story. That's next level nasty after how they handled business. Yeah. And unfortunately, Horror Paradise, I think they're going to do some nasty business in regards to the Carpenter sisters story. I'll say this. I think we are going to see a familiar sight with their characters in regards to how they're mentioned to a familiar character who was in Scream 3. I'm not going to say who that character is because I'm going to do a video on it, but you might be able to take the hint or be able to be clued in if you catch where I'm going with that. At the end of the day, I think they're going to do these fucking characters dirty either way. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But after giving the trailer a rewatch and breaking down certain moments with Sydney, yeah, I think the Carpenter sisters will be no more. Period. That's all I'll say about that. Spicy Oreo 15. You hear that, Oreo? You're spicy now. I have a dog named Oreo. I love that name. Saying, I don't think Charlie would trust Jill again. Yeah, I don't think so neither. Yeah, I don't. I think, yeah, if they were to bring him back and have him be partnered with him again, I would be so mad about that because that's just stupid to me. He should want to kill her. He should want to end her. He should want to finito her. Like, simple and plain. Yeah, I'm going to end up taking a look at this teaser here in a second. So let me get caught up in the comment section. And then after I take a look at that teaser, I'll quickly share my initial thoughts about it. And then I'm going to transition into why I like Scream 5 a lot more now than I did when it was released 4 years ago. Wrestling God saying, which, by the way, throughout 5 and 6, they've been talking about Dewey, Roman, and Stu throughout both of those movies, letting us know that they were supposed to return to 7 all along. That's a great point that you made there. That is a great point. Yeah, I never looked at it like that. They definitely did. Yeah, they talked about They obviously talked about Stu and Scream 5 and 6. Dewey obviously was present in 5 and he was mentioned in 6. Roman was mentioned in 6 by Kirby. So, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I never noticed that. Like, I never, paid attention to how that was structured. Thank you for pointing that out, Wrestling God. Yeah, so, again, breadcrumbs, setting things up for this 7 film. The breadcrumbs. This is what they have to focus on in Scream 5 and 6 and tie all that into 7. It just makes sense that way. I'm sorry. That's how the original 3 movies did it. That's how 7 should parlay itself into mimicking that formula to an extent. Like, it's long-term storytelling, you know? So let's hope we get it. I'm really hoping. Wrestling God saying with their Easter eggs throughout those movies. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yes, absolutely. I agree. Bat Super 505. That sounds like a gambling site name. Sounds like Bet365, but I'm here for it. I'll play a ticket or two every once in a while. Saying, imagine Gail directed 5 and 6. Scream 5 and 6. Maybe she convinced Sydney and Dewey to play themselves. Also, plot twist, Chad and Mindy aren't Meek's twins. They're Joel's kids, and they took over working for Gail. That's interesting. I think the only thing is I don't think Sydney would want to play in a stab movie. Like, I can't see that because you got to think the attention that would draw to herself for Ghostface killers to want to even come after her even more again. You know, so I don't think Sydney or Dewey, for that matter, like he even says it in Scream 5, when Sam says, help us, I've been stabbed, 9 times or whatnot. I have a fucked up back. Why would I want to go through that again? You know, so even though it would be in a movie format, it's kind of like reliving what they went through with their trauma, you know? And I think that's why Sydney wrote that book in Scream 4, Out of Darkness, so that she can get out of the darkness of that trauma. So, yeah, I don't think Sydney or Dewey would be okay with being in a stab movie. And the Meek Martin twins, I mean, being Joel's kids, So where's Joel? You know, that's my only question to that is where would Joel be? Like, are we going to get him? Like, I would like a little bit more structure to that. I'm not saying they couldn't be Joel's kids. They could they could very well be. You know, I just feel like you need to structure that a little better, kind of like how they did in Scream 5 by structuring it and hammering home the fact that these are Randy's niece and nephew. So if they were going to reveal that Joel is their father, they should have did something like that in the beginning of introducing these characters, in my opinions. And that we know that they are going to be Chad and Mindy Meeks in this movie. So I don't know. Yeah, again, interesting thought, interesting theory. I'm not one to shit on somebody's idea. I try not to. I just personally think for me, I don't know how I would see that working and stuff. But if you can see it working and you have a way you would want to see, if you have a way that you can see it playing out and working and being effective, hey, you know, I always say somebody with a talented enough pen can make just about anything happen in a movie or in a story. So it's very possible. Jamie said, I can see Charlie going solo, like Roman. Charlie gone rogue. Yes, I agree with that. What? That would be cool. But I just don't think, given the given what we have seen in Scream 5 and in Scream 6, even though there are a ton of Charlie Easter eggs, given where we are going in Scream 7, I just don't think they'll pull. I don't think they would have Charlie be revealed as like a solo rogue mastermind Ghostface killer, because a lot of fans of Scream, a lot of fans of, you know, the franchise and fans of Scream 4, they don't like Charlie as a killer. They think he's weak, you know. So I think if he were to be revealed, I would be happy. I would be ecstatic, especially if it makes sense. But the majority of the fan base would be like, this fucking movie sucks, man. Fuck you. Fuck you, Scream. We're done. We're not coming back here to the theaters. We're fucking tired of this. You brought fucking Charlie back? That simpy bastard? You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't like that too much. You know, so I would, obviously, but you got to think about the overall landscape too. But I like that idea, though, Jamie. Charlie going rogue, I could see that. I like that idea a lot. And we have another super chat in the house from Yuno Talk Scream. Thank you again, Yuno. Saying, to your Gale traitor theory, in Scream 5, Gale is telling Sidney, I started all of this, with a weird energy to that sentence. Would be so crazy. Yes, listen, guys, like, it's possible. You know, Gale is an opportunist, like Randy said in Scream 2. She is an opportunist. And Randy was always right in regards to calling who the killers could be. So if they wanted to go in this avenue of Gale Weathers being revealed as a mastermind Ghostface for Scream 7, and that she took part in basically orchestrating the killing spree in Woodsboro in Scream 5 and the New York killing spree in Scream 6, or maybe some involvement even before that, it is definitely possible, because even in Scream 6, they laid the breadcrumbs that Scream 4 started. She's not relevant in her own eyes. She's not relevant enough in the eyes of the general public unless she is reporting about Ghostface murders. Without Ghostface, there is no Gale Weathers. We saw that in Scream 4. Her legacy is tarnished. She's just a regular daytime TV show host. You know, sorry things didn't work out with 60 Minutes 2, but Total Entertainment, that's a pretty good fallback. You know, again, like, without the legacy of Ghostface and without relevant Ghostface attacks happening, Gale Weathers is dust. Like, honestly, and that's just truth. So, yes, and I like the fact that you pointed that out too, because I didn't put that in the video or whatnot, but that's a great thing that you mentioned, because in Scream 5, Gale does say, I started all of this, to where Sidney, weirdly, I don't know why they had Sidney say this because it was wrong. she says Billy Loomis started all of this. Well, no, your brother Roman started all of this, honestly. You know what I mean? So it was weird that they kind of excluded Roman out of that. But Gail saying and taking responsibility for her being responsible for why these Ghostface attacks and murders keep happening, you can play into that and make her go full on heel mode. Because again, without Ghostface attacks, she's irrelevant. And I highly doubt she wants to go another 11 years without Ghostface killings happening to where she might be losing some figures. In my opinion, there is a vast difference in discrepancy in pay in regards to what she might be getting paid as a regular daytime host, as opposed to her being her own author of her own of her own book, as well as being a producer or creator of the Stab movie franchise. So that's just my thoughts on that. But definitely great point that you make there, for sure. And we have another super chat in the house from Gina. My Chunky Jordy, 7585 with another $2 super chat. Thank you so much again, Gina. I greatly appreciate you. And again, I'm just super excited just to see you here hanging out, because we haven't got to hang out like this because I hardly do day streams anymore. So this might have to become a normal thing. Maybe I'll use Sunday as like my evening / afternoon, like middle of the day, heading into dinner time type stream. And then maybe I'll use Wednesday or Thursday as like my early morning daytime type of stream. Well, I'll figure it out. We'll see. But Gina says, Zig says, where's his Oreo? Oh, his Oreo is just being a couch potato right now. She's chilling. She's chilling like a villain. All right, so let me catch up here. All right. Take a swig. I am about to get into my reasonings as to why I find Scream 5 a lot more of a better movie than I did before. Why I like it a lot more now, and why I think it's actually a pretty damn good movie in regards to how I perceive it. But Carrie says, Angela, wait a minute, hold on. Angelus? I don't know why, but I heard you say silly like Jill does in 4. Huh? Help me. Oh, I see it. Okay. I see it, Carrie. I see there's we have Angelus Carter here. And I think you're a new subscriber to the channel. If so, thank you. Welcome. I greatly appreciate you being here. And if you have been here before, but I'm just seeing you, again, welcome. I didn't see you here before and stuff like that. So you being here is kind of new to me. If you have been here before, I apologize for not noticing. But again, welcome here to the channel. Welcome to the community. I'm glad to have you here. Let's talk about some Scream. Yeah, I was confused there for a second, Carrie. I'm just like, wait, what? Did I say something silly like about Jill? Like, what's going on here? Help me. Like, I will also point this out too, real quick. Carrie did a great job of breaking down the audio in Scream 7's trailer, because in those scenes where, let's say, when Ghostface is tapping on the wall before stabbing through it in Sydney's house, you hear this little noise. It's like it sounds like a sound effect, like as part of the score, like a score effect. But when you really break it down, it's Randy. It's Randy saying hello, like he did in the original Scream 1996 when he's picking up the phone when they call about Hembry. And I think there's another one where he says help or something like that. Either way, Carrie did a phenomenal job of breaking down that audio, because I did not catch that. And I bring that up because I have been giving this marketing team shit, especially for that TV spot where they featured Sarah Michelle Gellar, CC Cooper over Randy Meeks in the Legacy spot. Nothing against the CC Cooper character, but she's nobody in regards to the Legacy like Randy is. So that, yes, I'm sorry. it infuriates me. It does. It pisses me off. Stepping on your own dick. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, you're going to drop a legacy spot, but not have one of the most important legacy characters present in that spot. Just, I hate that. That's annoying to me. And then Angelus Carter, I'm going to get to your comment here, saying it would be interesting to see two Ghostfaces having two different motives. That would be, because that would mirror Billy and Stu. Because Billy obviously had his motive because of Maureen sleeping with his father, but Stu never really had a motive. He just did it just to do it. And in a way, I guess you could say Amber kind of mirrored that in Scream 5 too, because Richie's motive was to basically requel the Stab movie franchise because he didn't like how Stab 8 featured elevated horror in a way of social commentary in that film, and that they wanted to bring things back to the basics. And Amber was lockstep and key with him up until she mentions the fact of her being radicalized and that she just wanted to be a part of something. So that tells me right there that Amber really didn't have a motive for doing what she was doing herself either. She just wanted to do something. She just wanted to be a killer. She just wanted to be a part of what was happening. So, yeah, I mean, it would be nice if we got two Ghostface killer reveals that had two different motives. Like, they have a motive. Like, Billy didn't have a motive. I mean, no, Billy had a motive. Stu didn't have a motive to a degree, right? Well, basically to the fullest extent. It would be cool if we have two Ghostface killers. Well, then again, when you really think about it, though, Mickey and Mrs. Loomis, because Mrs. Loomis was purely about revenge. Mickey wanted to blame the movies. So we have seen instances throughout this franchise where the killers, the partners, have different motives for why they're doing what they're doing. You know, could they go back to that? And would that be nice, you know, if they did that again? Yeah, sure. But I kind of think now that I've broke it down, and I didn't even know I was going to get into it that way, that we've kind of had that a lot throughout the franchise. Again, think about Scream 6. Jason and Greg's motive was to finish Richie's movie, but the Bailey's motive was to not only get revenge on Samantha and Tara, but the reason why they killed Jason and Greg was because they wanted to be the ones to kill the sisters first. So again, their motive was completely different as well than compared to Jason and Greg's motive. So we have seen that throughout the entirety of the franchise. Maybe Angelus, do you have particular motives in mind that haven't been used before that you want to see these two Ghostfaces use? Let me know in the comment section. Carrie says, bring Scream 7 back to the roots is what I say. Tie loose ends. Share some dark secrets from previous Scream films. Yes. Thank you, Carrie. Absolutely. And this is going to lead me into my spew as to why I think Scream 5 is actually a way better movie than how I interpreted it to begin with. The reason why I look at it the way I do now is because I firmly believe we are watching a movie where we are watching two different factions of Ghostface killers hunting the same target. That is something that we've never seen before in the Scream franchise. Scream 6 doubled down on it with the Bailey family and with Jason and Greg. Two different Ghostface factions going after the same target, but they're not working together. They're working against each other. And in Scream 5, I noticed this throughout the entirety of the film. That's why I implore you, go watch that video I just made. I explain everything in that video. Especially if we get the encapsulation and if we get the culmination of Stu Macher being revealed alive in Scream 7, that will only elevate Scream 5 even more as a better film, because everything was basically laid out to lead to the culmination of Scream 7's events. Everything had a purpose. And now, when I look at Scream 5, I think that everything does have a purpose in regards to what they did. Point an example. A lot of Scream fans question if Stu, Richie, and Amber were basically, or if Amber and Richie were a part of Stu Macher's cult. Why? And I mentioned this in the video, but I'm going to mention it here right now as well. Why would Stu agree to kill his nephew Vince? Or why would Stu do the killing himself? The point is why would Stu agree to have his nephew killed? I believe that Richie and Amber killed Vince. Mind you, Vince was the first kill in Scream 5. Amber wasn't killed. Tara wasn't killed. She was attacked. Vince was the first actual kill in Scream 5. I think that Richie and Amber, specifically Amber because she was at the bar, killed Vince as a warning shot or a statement to Stu that we're taking over. We're going in our own direction. Which is why Vince was killed. That would explain why Stu wouldn't want his nephew killed. Especially if Vince is an accomplice to Stu like I believe he was. So with that said, the fact that Vince was killed and the fact that I believe Richie and Amber were making a statement to Stu in that regard, that's what kickstarts the chain of events, especially at the hospital scene. What does Ghostface say to Sam on the phone when picking up Richie's phone? Richie can't come to the phone right now. He's finding out what happens to people who stick their noses in business that don't belong to them. Ladies in business that doesn't concern them. Let me say that right. He's finding out what happens to people who stick their noses in business that doesn't concern them. That to me is a clear indicator that this is another Ghostface killer outside of Richie and Amber. They are literally telling us that there are two different Ghostface factions fighting over the same target. I like that. I love that whole premise. I love that whole angle. And I think Scream 5, when you really put a microscope under it, forget the Stu Macher is alive theory, but put a microscope on Scream 5's films. Let's get rid of Stu Macher, right? Let's exclude him and just say there is another killer that is present outside of Richie and Amber. Put Scream 5 under a microscope, and I guarantee you will come to that conclusion that you are witnessing two different Ghostface factions fighting over the same thing, fighting over the same target for different reasons. And again, Scream 6 doubled down on this idea. And Scream 5, this is why I like this movie a lot more now, because I look at it in this way, that this was the beginning of the Stu Macher mastermind story arc. That's how I look at it. This was the beginning of the Stu Macher mastermind story arc. So, the attack on Tara was Stu Macher and his nephew Vince, in my opinion. But then Richie and Amber kills Vince or whatnot as a way to send a warning shot to Stu. Then we have the whole hospital scene happen and all that stuff or whatever. Whatever, all the hospital stuff. Guys, there's too many moments in this movie where they tell us there are other killers. Prime example, Richie says, I wanted to be the first one to kill you, to Samantha. I really, really wanted to be the first one to kill you. That's the same thing Bailey said about Jason and Greg in Scream 6. And why was that? Because Greg and Jason were other Ghostface killers who were trying to kill Samantha and Tara for their own reasons. Scream 5 literally laid the groundwork for it, y'all. They did. They laid the groundwork for it throughout the entirety of that movie. And I feel like when you really go back and hone in on that aspect, look at Scream 5, not as a requel, not as a a movie that has new characters followed up with legacy characters. Look at it as a Scream movie that has two different Ghostface factions battling over the same target. I promise you, if you look at it in that way, you will come to the conclusion like, yo, he's right. Like, this is really happening. We're watching two factions of Ghostface killers committing these attacks and committing these murders, but they're also kind of battling each other to a degree. You know what I mean? Like, and I actually like Scream 5 a lot more now because of that aspect. You know, I feel like, especially if Scream 7 does what should be done and connects all this stuff, like Carrie said, tie loose ends. If you tie up these loose ends in Scream 7, Scream 5, I guarantee you, those who do not like Scream 5 all like that, they will like Scream 5 a lot better. Why? Because that was the table setter for the long-term storytelling that is going to be culminated in the end of Scream 7. That's how you do storytelling. There's always a start, there's always a beginning, there's always a middle, and there's always an end. Scream 5 was the beginning of the Stu Macher is Alive story arc. What did we see on the computer when Richie is watching YouTube? There's a YouTube video asking the question, is Stu Macher alive or dead, or something of that nature? The breadcrumbs have been there since the beginning. They have been leaning into this since the beginning. You cannot tell me, especially if Scream 5 mirrored Scream 1, if Scream 6 mirrored Scream 2, if Scream 7 mirrors Scream 3, you cannot tell me that they are not setting this up to be revealed in Scream 7 that there was a mastermind Ghostface killer present during the events of Scream 5 and 6's films. Why? Because that's what we found out about Roman. We found that out about Roman in Scream 3. We found out that Roman was the original mastermind behind the murder, behind Maureen Prescott, his mother's murder. So in my opinion, Stu was the original mastermind of the killing spree that was supposed to start back up the murders in Woodsboro. The attack on Tara was Stu Macher, but Richie and Amber threw a cork in the plans. A la what Roman Bridgers said about Billy and Stu. I had no idea they were going to make a film of their own. Stu didn't have no idea that Richie and Amber was going to go against the grain and make a film of their own. That's why shit got fucked up and discombobulated the way it did. That's why we have these moments where we're looking at these killers or these scenes and we're like, that can't be Amber and Richie. That can't be Amber and Richie based on what we hear in the phone calls. That can't be Amber and Richie based on breaking down certain clues. That can't be Amber and Richie. Why? Because it's not. They have been telling us this since the beginning. There has always been, in Scream 5 and in Scream 6, double down on it. There has always been, since the start of this franchise being re-released with Scream 5, there has always been two factions of Ghostface killers coming after the Carpenter sisters in Scream 5 and Scream 6. And now we're going to culminate it by going back to Sydney in Scream 7. Now, some of you will ask, well, how does this all work, especially without Samantha and Tara being present? I will mention that in my video in regards to what I believe Scream 7 is going to do in regards to writing their characters out. Because I think when I extrapolate it the way I'm going to extrapolate it, you guys will think it makes a lot of sense. You might not like it. I most likely will believe you guys will not like it. But you will agree that it does make sense, especially if Scream 7 is supposed to mirror Scream 3. So again, I like Scream 5 a lot more now, guys, because I look at it in a whole different way than when I looked at it before. When I looked at it before, I was looking at it from the requel side of things to an extent, right? Now I'm looking at it from a whole different level and a whole different angle. You know, and I like this angle. I like this angle, kind of like what Killjoy Jake did with his fan film, Red Right Hand. He had, guys, if you have never seen Killjoy Jake's Red Right Hand fan film, go check that out. He plays into the idea of two different Ghostface killers committing murders but not working together. I love that angle. And I think Scream 5, with the doubling down of Scream 6, Scream 5 was the table setter that started this whole angle and this whole idea. And we were watching it play out in real time throughout Scream 5 and then in Scream 6. I like that. Tell me you guys would not like to have the revelation that we have had a killer from previous movies present in real time. We've seen them underneath the Ghostface costume, but we didn't see them revealed up until the time was right to reveal them. Tell me that would be cool. Yes, you may say that's copying Roman Bridger to an extent, yes, but we didn't see Roman Bridger up until the third film. In my opinion, if I'm right about this unrevealed killer, which I believe to be Stu Macher, being revealed in Scream 7, then we actually did see this killer present in Scream 5 with the hospital scene, as well as Tara's opening attack scene, and then in Scream 6 with Gale Weathers' attack scene, meaning we were watching this mastermind killer commit a murder in Dewey Riley, as well as an attack on Gale Weathers in real time without being revealed up until the time is right. Guys, I like that. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I fuck with it. I really do. Like, and I think Scream 5, when you look at it from that angle in regards to dual Ghostface factions battling it out over the same target, I think you will grow to like Scream 5 a lot more than you did before. That's just me, though, guys. That's just me. I will say I am going to have to wrap the stream up here in a few minutes because I do have to, unfortunately, head into work. But I'll probably keep the stream up for about another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then I am going to head out. But I am going to get to some more of you guys' comments. I think I have another super chat here in the house. And I do. Another super chat coming from Talk Scream. Thank you again, I greatly appreciate it, man. Saying Roman was in Hollywood and Gale was most likely there as well since she wanted fame. No, man. Yo. You stooging on me in my Instagram group chats? Did somebody add you to the group page and I just didn't see that? Carrie, what's going on here? Somebody let me know something. Because I was literally just talking about this last night. Literally just talking about this in the group chat to Carrie Crave Cinema last motherfucking night. Yes, Thank you. Roman was in Hollywood and Gale was most likely there as well since she wanted fame. She might not be a Ghostface, but she's the reason Ghostface keeps coming back. I have this idea, and I'm going to do a Secret Traitor Part 2 theory video for Gale Weathers' character. I'll give you guys a teaser in regards to where I'm going with that. You know how we are in today's society, right? In regards to social media and content creators. And there are some people who watch content, like YouTubers, who believe certain YouTubers are industry plants. Like, you see certain people blow up out of nowhere. That's what a lot of people in today's society would call an industry plant. Because nobody knew about them before, and then the next day they have 1 million subscribers, 1 million followers. I have this idea that Gale Weathers could have been an industry plant herself by Roman Bridger. And here's why. Roman Bridger, the whole premise for him doing what he did by killing his mother and by giving Billy and Stu the information, Billy the information, and basically motivating Billy and Stu to commit the murder on Maureen. He wanted to tell his own story with that. That quickly became Sidney's story. He mentions this in Scream 3. You're going to pay for the life you stole from me, Sid. For the mother, for the family, and for the stardom. God damn it, everything you have should have been mine. That tells you clear as day. Roman wanted to be the star of his story with Maureen himself, but that it basically got blown up and put on Sidney. Sidney was put under the microscope. Sidney was the one who got the notoriety and the fame in the aftermath of Marine Prescott's death, right? What if Gale Weathers, Roman Bridger, assigned Gale Weathers? Maybe Gale was a struggling reporter somewhere, maybe in Hollywood, like says. Maybe she was a struggling reporter trying to get her big break, trying to find that one story that is going to take her over the top. And Roman Bridger comes to her with the story and says, I want you to write it for me. Like, I want you to basically report this for me. This is what's going to happen, or whatever and stuff. Gale agrees. But then basically Gale, doing what Gale does, goes rogue and flips the story and centers it on Sydney, because Sydney is the more hotter attraction to follow, because nobody knows about Roman. Nobody knows who Roman is. Nobody knows who Roman is. Why? Because he's been behind the scenes. Sydney, on the other hand, is the direct link to Marine, because Marine was present in her daughter's life as opposed to being present in Roman's life. So to follow Sydney's trauma as opposed to Roman's trauma is a lot more juicier, because nobody knows who the fuck Roman is. Nobody knows who Roman is. It's even possible to concede that Roman may have not been a big-time director at that point when he approached Marine. He may have been like a struggling director or just an upcoming filmmaker. He might have not even gotten his full experience in being a big-time Hollywood director yet. I think it's possible if they wanted to reveal that type of angle, that Gale could have had interactions with Roman Bridger before the events of Scream 1996, leading into the events of Marine's murder. I think it's possible. You guys, like, and again, I think Ghostface even hints at it in Scream 6. You would have made a great killer, Gale. Dewey was the fan favorite. Sydney didn't make much sense, but you voting under the pressure and turning into Ghostface, that would have been a great twist. Love that line of dialogue. I do, because it just plays into the idea, like, damn, Gale could be the killer. Out of anybody who would be a returning character, who is a likable returning character, to an extent, Gale has her bullshit. Sometimes she is unlikable, but for the most part, the fan base loves Gale, right? Who better than to have Gale as the returning character who everybody loves, who's been a staple of this franchise since the beginning, to be a returning character who was a good character, only to find out that they have been a bad character this entire time. They have been a heel this entire time. They have been a mastermind Ghostface this entire time. In my opinion, Gale Weathers, based on the facts that I even laid out in that video, and I'll say it here, the fact that she can't live without Ghostface's legacy being relevant. I want to say she can't live, but the fact that she, and I think also within herself, not just in the public opinion, the fact that she is not as relevant as she would be unless Ghostface murders are happening, she is the perfect candidate to try to keep the legacy alive and become a mastermind Ghostface. Scream 6 even doubled down on this too. When Gale asks Ghostface, what are you just trying to make like a new movie, or are you just trying to stay relevant? I can ask you the same thing. Don't you know the legacy characters are disposable now? Nobody cares about yesterday's heroes. The point is that Ghostface questions why Gale is still involving herself with Ghostface murders, because of the relevancy aspect. What did he say? I could ask you the same thing in regards to what? Are you just trying to stay relevant? I can ask you the same thing. That's Ghostface basically telling Gale, or I could ask you, are you involving yourself with these murders and reporting about them and making books about them because you're not relevant without Ghostface? You're not relevant without this entity? Lines up to me, guys. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, so the stream did jump on me a little bit. So if I missed your comments, I apologize. This is just how StreamYard works and stuff. And every time I keep trying to scroll back up, it just keeps knocking me back down. So again, I apologize, but we're gonna move on here. At Living Doll 11, thank you for being here. Hold up. Okay, see, I'm not going to lie to you at Living Doll. I thought you were my friend Sierra for a second because she has a very similar style profile picture, just as hers is Scream. I don't know what yours is. I can't see that deep into it. But she has a similar Scream style one, so I thought it was her. Living Doll 11 saying, I just wanted to point out that in the teaser, most of the flashback calls were Stu calls. What if the rest of them were also Stu, which is why they were specifically chosen? Are we talking about that new teaser that Carrie and Gina was talking about? All right, my hand's been forced. Let me go grab my phone. Or better yet, Gina, if you're still here, which I think you are, can you send me the link to that teaser you were talking about? And Living Doll, let me know if you are talking about that same teaser. Because now I'm really interested. At JRod8574. What's going on, man? Glad to see you here. Saying, why do people go out of their way to tell you Stu is gone and won't show up in Scream 7? We're just hoping he does. I think it's because a lot of people just like to ruffle other people's feathers and get under people's skin just to do it. You know, some people just trying to be as professional and clean spoken as I possibly can here, but I always like to be honest with you guys. Some people just like to be fucking assholes, man. Some people like to trample on people's ideas and hopes and dreams or wants and theories that they would have for Scream or any particular movie because that's just what they do. We live in a society where we love to tear each other down, no matter what it is, and it's sad, you know. And a lot of people who go out of their way to say this is why Stu can't be alive. This is why Stu can't be alive, no matter what evidence. And the evidence to me is definitive and overwhelming. But no matter how definitive it is, they themselves in their mind don't want to admit it, or they just want to fuck with you because they know by telling you what you don't want to hear, it's going to ruffle the feathers a little bit. You know, people just love to basically shit on ideas that basically they may not see make sense to themselves, even if it makes sense to somebody else and somebody else provides evidence of why it would make sense. You know, that's just how some people are. You know, it's unfortunate, but people like to fucking sit there and piss in people's Wheaties, I should say. You know, some people just don't like others to have any joy, you know, or have a joyous idea. I also noticed that a lot of people don't like, you know, for the most part, people who think for themselves and who have their own perspective. I know this as a content creator because some comments that I see in my comment section in regards to some theories that I deep dive and break down and give very credible evidence to, they're still like, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. You know, it's illogical or this and this. You don't know about these Scream movies. Blah, 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 blah. Zabada and the Zabada and the Zabada. You know what I mean? And stuff. So just don't mind it. Don't play into it. If you believe what you believe, that's all that matters. Stick to your convictions. If you believe that Stu Macher is alive and he's going to make a return to Scream 7, you stick to that. The worst part about it is that we're wrong. We could turn out to be wrong. Big whoop. Would we be disappointed? Yes. But we are also knowing that we're going into this knowing we could be wrong. See, that's why I think a lot of people who like to fuck with us Stu Truthers, who are non-Stu Truthers, who like to get under our skin, I think that's what they failed to realize, is that we already expect our idea and our theory for Stu Macher to not come to fruition. So, though we would be disappointed, we're not particularly going to be mad at the outcome, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to go crazy about it. We'll just be disappointed that they didn't take the opportunity, But I think I think what it boils down to is this: a lot of non-Stu truthers just want to be able to tell us Stu truthers, "Ha! We told you so. He's not alive. See, y'all are stupid. We tried to tell you." Ha 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 ha! That's just what it boils down to. It's childish bragging rights, tribalism type bullshit, if you ask me. Believe in what you believe in. Believe in your convictions. If you believe that Stu Macher is alive and he's going to be returning in Scream 7, I will say I am right there with you, and stick to what you believe in. Simple and plain. That's all you can really do. That's why I say about what I say about Scream 5 now. I like this movie a lot now. Why? Because I look at it in the way that I look at it. I have my own perception of it. And the perception that I have of it is that it's a fucking awesome, fucking fun time because of how I perceive it. It doesn't have how I perceive something, how you perceive something doesn't have to be the same. That's what a lot of people don't understand, especially in regards to opinion-based videos or just ideas and just opinions in general. A lot of people in today's society think, oh, we have to agree on everything. And if you don't agree on everything, you're a fucking idiot. That's not true. That's not true. If you don't have different points of view, if you don't have different perspectives, then you're not really, if you don't have those different points of views and those different perspectives on whatever you are watching or whatever it is, then you're going to most likely think you're seeing the same thing. You have to look outside the box in order to understand certain movies and how they're structured or whatever. You have to think outside the box. You can't always think about what was in the past. That's what I see a lot of Scream fans doing. Oh, that's not how Scream movies are made. That's not a Scream movie. Guess what? We're not in the fucking 90s anymore, y'all. We're not. Accept that for what it is. We're not in the 90s anymore. They're not going to make Scream movies the way they used to, especially with Wes Craven not being around. Sorry if I'm being loud, but it's just real shit. Like, this ain't the 90s anymore. We have to accept that we are in a new era. We are in a new time. So shit is going to be a little bit different. What you knew about the Scream movies in the past in regards to the 90s and the early 2000s is completely different to what it's going to look like now because we are in a different time. We are in a different era. So the Scream movies that you know and love, that you feel like these newer movies should structure itself after, some of these newer creators and even a past creator in Kevin Williamson may feel differently. They may feel they need to go in a different direction. They may feel they need to go in a more modern direction. You have to be willing to look outside the box. You can't always get the same shit all the time. You can't always think, oh, well, a Scream movie is supposed to be exactly how the original was in regards to feel, in regards to structure, in regards to characters. Yes, we want those things to be mirrored, but you can't always have it the same. Otherwise, you're not getting any new material. How the fuck do you expect this franchise to go beyond the Sidney Prescott storyline or the original storyline and their characters in general if you don't allow fresh new perspectives and ideas to come into the fray? It's evolution. So again, if you think that Stu Macher is alive, if that's what you believe in your heart, continue believing that. Don't fucking listen to what everybody else says. But I'm glad that you put this comment in there because I needed to let that spew out a little bit. That one's been a long time coming. So you brought the beast out on that one. Honestly, thank you, J Rod. I needed that release. You know what I mean? That release therapy for a second. Because, again, just some people just like to trample on, other people's hopes and wants, and I don't like that. I try my best not to do that. I try my best to take into account everybody's points of views and stuff. That's why I'll even say it right here, right now. When I went back and rewatched the first episode of the podcast with Jordan and Pam, I kind of felt a little upset with myself because I felt like there were certain moments where I felt like maybe I was kind of discrediting Jordan's idea to a degree. And I didn't notice that I might have been doing it in the moment. You know what I mean? But when I go back and watch it, I kind of felt like I did. And that's something I don't want to do. And that's not a person I want to be. So you learn from, I want to say you learn from your mistakes, but you pick up on, things like that and stuff. And it's just best to have an open mind. That's the problem. A lot of people just don't like to have an open mind. They want to be so closed-minded, and you can't be closed-minded. You have to be open-minded because anything can happen, especially when it comes to movies like Scream or horror movies in general. We do have a couple more super chats, and I am going to touch on some other comments in the comment section, and then we are going to wrap things up, guys, because unfortunately I got to get ready to start going into work. Ugh, hate it. Okay, sweet. Thank you again, Gina, for another $2 super chat. I greatly appreciate you. Saying Carrie dropped the link. Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna have to check this out here. So you guys will be seeing my live reaction to this teaser right here or whatever. I'm gonna pull the video up. I'm not gonna show it on screen. I'm just gonna pull it up on another tab and then I'll just react to it while I'm here before I head out. Thank you for dropping the link as well, Carrie. And thank you, Gina, for your $2 super chat. And Gina coming through with another $2 super chat. Can I have your hoodie, please? It looks cozy. It is very cozy. I love this fucking hoodie. I will give you a tip, Gina. You can order this hoodie on Spencers.com. It's only $60. It's not that expensive as you would probably think. Only $60. You can get it online at Spencers and they can deliver it to you or whatnot. I don't know if you have a Spencer's in the UK, but I'm pretty sure Spencer's could have it delivered to you overseas. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure Spencer's has a overseas online store. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do because Spencer's is really like out there, like they're big. And we have a new channel member here to the channel. Talk Scream. Becoming a YouTube channel member here on our Shop 6 Times YouTube Horror Movie channel. Thank you so much, not just for your continued support, for your super chats, but for becoming a member. I greatly appreciate it. That lets me know you like the content that I'm doing here with this channel and that you want to be a part of this community. And I greatly appreciate this because that's what I do this for. I love having these conversations with you guys, even if we're not going to agree on everything. That's not how these conversations are supposed to go. These conversations are supposed to be fun, informative, and just an overall good time because we all share the same passion. So again, thank you for your continued support and welcome to the community. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this teaser. Hey, what's up, Horror? I hope you're doing great. Glad to see you here. I'm going to have to reach out to you and get you here on the stream as well. See if we can do some content together. I am going to check out this teaser that Gina and everybody and Carrie has been talking about. And then, unfortunately, I am going to have to wrap this episode of the Raw Footage podcast up. But real quick, I will say before I check this teaser trailer out, if you guys haven't done so already, shoot the like button, shoot the hype button. It helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps this video and this stream get more notoriety, share on social media, etc., etc. If you're new here to the channel, shoot that subscribe button followed by the bell icon for all content notifications, as well as the like button and the hype button on the stream, just like everybody else who is already a continued supporter here to the I Shot 6 Times YouTube horror movie community. So, all right, let me see. I know I'm going to have to look for it, but it's okay. We'll get there. All right, I got it, Carrie. So can I just click on it? Like, is it going to let me click on it from here? Like, or do I have to like copy it? Okay, so I'm just going to look this up. I'm just going to pull up another tab. Just give me a second. Yeah, because it wouldn't let me, like, it didn't show up highlighted for me to click on it. So, okay. Ooh, my tummy's rumbling. I'm going to need something to eat. Probably make me a sandwich before I go to work. Stuff some fucking chips in that bad boy. Shaggy style, Scooby Doo. Big inspiration in my childhood. Okay. So Scream 7 teaser, I'm supposing? UK. Okay, so I see the Traders one, and I think Carrie and Gina, let me know what exactly is the title of this video. That's right. Horror. You need some energy before a shift. Yes. This was definitely the energy boost that I need. Yeah, let me know what the name of this teaser is, y'all. Because I'm looking up Scream 7 teaser UK. I see the Traders one. So let me play it and then. Interesting. About the ceremonial daggers and stuff for the Scream 7 Traders Paramount UK spot. Is that the one? Oh, wait, is this no, this looks like an edit. Yeah, let me know exactly what it's titled. Um okay, so she left a link in my Instagram. Okay, let me get on Instagram and check this out cuz that just makes it a lot easier. Um yeah. At Traders on one is interesting though too, talking about the ceremonial daggers. I'm going to have to sink my teeth into it. Okay, so all right, messages. Not now. All right. Okay, this is what Gina was talking. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I just. Yep, that is it. Okay, so I did just watch that. Yeah, that is interesting. That is really interesting. Talking about the ceremonial daggers and stuff like that. Like again, playing into the cult of Ghostface. Like guys, somebody. I had an argument, and then I am going to shut down this episode of the podcast because I do got to get ready to go to work. But I literally had like a debate slash argument with somebody on the first Traders UK trailer for Scream 7, the promotional short. And somebody was like, oh, if you think this has anything to do with Scream 7's actual movie, you're an idiot and you don't know anything or whatever. And I'm just like, well, I'd like to think that with literally just a little over a month ago, they're sitting there doing a promotional video talking about a TV show that has cult like characters. Like it follows a cult of people, right? It has been speculated for quite some time that we are getting the cult of Ghostface in Scream 7. So I don't think it's a coincidence that they are dropping these shorts playing into the whole Traders UK TV show that is a depiction of cult members and a cult of people if they're not leaning into and giving a hint for the movie itself. So I definitely do think these trader teaser trailers that we're getting from Paramount UK, I don't think they're just a coincidence. I definitely do think they have something to do with what is going to be seen in Scream 7's movie itself. And I think it points to the cult of Ghostface. And I'm all here for it. You guys know what time it is with me. I love the idea of a cult of Ghostface. I think the breadcrumbs have been laid in 5 and 6 as well, like I mentioned it. And it's time to, like Carrie said, tie up all these loose ends and give us a reveal that is centered around long-term storytelling that started in Scream 5, with Scream 6 being the middle and Scream 7 being the end, or with Scream 7 serving as an extension of a trilogy, of a new trilogy, with the end coming in Scream 8. Because keep in mind, or whatnot, I'm going to say in Scream 4, I'll say the first 3 Scream movies was an extended storyline, basically. And then in Scream 4, that was a whole new storyline. That was, even though it had Sidney, Dewey, and Gale, that was focused on something completely different. It had nothing to do with the original story with Sidney, Maureen, Roman, Billy, so on and so forth. So if Scream 7 is going to have a cliffhanger, like we all assume, then Scream 8 would be the extended trilogy ending to what Scream 7 basically played into, also tying in Scream 5 and Scream 6 or whatnot. So, because I have been on record saying that I believe if we get a cult of Ghostface and Stu Macher isn't revealed at the end of 7, but they hint that there's another Ghostface out there that we're going to get revealed in Scream 8, then Stu Macher most likely won't be revealed until Scream 8's film. So, definitely could possibly happen for sure. And before I go, we do have one more super chat in house. Talk Scream saying, swap that red cloak for a black one. That's Ghostface telling Gale to just let's go and transform. I agree. Hey, I said it in my secret trailer video for Gale Weathers. She is seen wearing that red jacket that she is seen wearing in Scream 5. But instead of the matching red slacks that she wore in Scream 5 with that red jacket, she is wearing black pants. Black and red and black is colors of a cloak worn by a cult member. That's the main colors behind those robes. Red and black in regards to what cult-like members wear in regards to those robes. So I think they're leading into it, guys, and I'm all here for it. I'm all down for some Gale Weathers being revealed as a secret traitor, a mastermind Ghostface. As long as they make it make sense, I'm definitely down for it. Thank you again, for your continued support and for your super chat and for becoming a member here to the community. This was a great time, everyone. Unfortunately, I do have to call it a stream. I have to call it an end to the second episode of the Raw Footage Podcast. But stay tuned. I do have some more content that I will be coming out with, especially in regards to Scream. If you haven't already, go check out the Scream 7 video that I posted before the stream even took place. I definitely think you guys want to watch that and leave a comment and let me know what you guys think about that video. But until next time, I will also plug this in. Sunday will be episode 3 of the Raw Footage Podcast, where we're going to be revisiting Scream 6's movie, just like we revisited Scream 5's movie here in this episode of the podcast. So episode 3 is going to be centered around revisiting Scream 6's film, because we're already, that movie's already 3 years old. It's about to celebrate its 3rd year anniversary. So we definitely need to take a look back into Scream 6. And then maybe in a future episode as well, we will delve back into Scream 3, because Scream 3, Scream 5, and Scream 6 are the 3 movies I feel like we should really focus on. I know Scream 2 is going to have some things to do with Scream 7, but me personally, I think Scream 3, 5, and 6 are the movies we really need to focus on in regards to what we could see happen and play out in Scream 7. But until next time, you guys, I'm going to head out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out, everybody.